What is up, guys? Josh back here again with you today for a movie review for 10 Cloverfield Lane. I just saw it a couple nights ago for the first time and ended up just getting it on Blu-ray. I unfortunately did not make it to the theaters to see it when it came out, I believe back in March or around that time before the summer movie season really kicked off. But just saw it again, like I said, a couple nights ago. This is going to be kind of a spoiler kind of heavy review. I'm just going to kind of get into it because I really do have some things that I really love about the movie and have some things that I just really did not like about it. Didn't hate anything in it really. There's some things in it though that I'd want to get into kind of explaining because it is a really well received movie and fairly critically acclaimed and did really well when all is said and done. The movie is produced by J.J. Abrams. It's directed by Dan Trachtenberg, who really has not done a whole lot before this movie. He's not really a big blockbuster type of director. He's done a few shorts, according to his IMDb credits. He's done some shorts like one for the Portal video game series. It was just like a short that he did of that, a live action one. So he really hasn't done a lot. So this is kind of like his first big break into like Hollywood A-list kind of movies. Now he's doing he's directing an episode I noticed for the new season of Black Mirror, the British kind of co-produced or Netflix co-produced show, and he's directing one of those episodes now. So I think we'll be seeing a lot more of this director in the future. The movie also stars John Goodman, who I most know from when I was a kid from the Flintstones live-action movies, and then more notably from The Big Lebowski. It also stars Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who also wasn't in a whole lot, but she has been in fairly noteworthy movies like Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, played the lead actress in that, opposite Michael Cera. She was also most recently in Swiss Army Man with Daniel Radcliffe and Paul Dano. The other star of the movie was John Gallagher Jr., who hasn't really also been in a whole lot. He's been in a movie called Hush, which I believe is on Netflix streaming. So really this whole movie has a very indie feel to it. And I noticed that watching it, it feels like a very big budget, A-list kind of Hollywood movie, but it has a real sort of indie drama kind of grounding, from the way it's shot to the more in-depth, kind of slower, more quieter character moments and conversations and dialogue between the characters, and the fact that it's really only set in one location, and it only has just a few characters in the whole film. So I really liked the story. The premise of the story is basically a woman has a falling out in a relationship. She's leaving her boyfriend, who's trying to, telling her to come back and everything, and she's just angry and she's just trying to get out of there. You basically start hearing about these like power surges and stuff like that happening around the entire eastern seaboard. Pretty much, there's some sort of massive power outage that happens. It doesn't really explain, but it's just a little setup towards what's to come in the rest of the movie. So then she basically gets into a car wreck, and she wakes up chained up in the bottom of this basement with John Goodman's character basically showing up and telling her ominously that he's just there to keep her safe when she really wants nothing more but to just go home. John Goodman's character and John Gallagher Jr.'s character pretty much telling her that there's been an actual attack. There's been a chemical attack of some sort. The air is toxic. There's not really any way to do anything. There's nobody to contact. There's no way to communicate with the outside world. This Michelle character is pretty much very opposed to believing anything that they tell her. So there's a lot of sort of suspicion that goes on with the movie, and there's a lot of just very ominous setups. There's a lot of tension. There's a lot of plot twists in this movie, which I thought going through the first act and second act were just great. Like, it was just a really just fun movie to watch. I watched it with a couple other people, and it was just one of those movies to where you can just, why are they doing this? Like, why is this person doing that? Oh, okay, that's why this is happening. Can't believe John Goodman's character, whatever he's doing, I can't believe that she did this. So it's just one of those really fun movies to watch with a group of people. And it makes me kind of wish I'd went to the theaters actually and watched it It would have been really fun talking about it afterwards. So it's got like a lot of good stuff going for it there. It was written by Josh Campbell and Matthew Stucken. So there's the writing credits come from movies like Blade 2, Chronicles of Narnia. So some fairly okay movies, some decent movies. So it's just really interesting that a lot of the writing was just so well done, because those movies aren't really known for their script or whatever. Maybe besides the first Narnia movie was fairly well received for the story. Cinematographer was Jeff Cutter. I really liked the cinematography in this movie. It really helped just sort of set up this sort of creepy atmosphere, because the characters are for almost the entirety of the movie in a bunker. So there's just a lot of cool stuff going on with a very limited space. The cinematographer was Jeff Cutter. He worked on movies like Orphan, the most recent Nightmare on Elm Street remake, and Gridiron Gang. So he's had some sort of edgy, sort of dark movies to work with coming into this film, which is indeed a fairly dark and edgy movie. So, like I said, the atmosphere of it is great. The character dialogue is great. The characters themselves I really like. John Goodman in this movie is just incredible. I'm a John Goodman fan to begin with, but I really enjoyed the two other actors in this film. They were both just really good with what they were given and what their motivations and their backstories and all that were. My main problem with this movie, all that said, the first and second act were just so good, and there were so many just plot twists and turns. Now I'm going to get into major spoiler territory, so if you've already been spoiled a little bit and don't care, I would say to back out now, and just know that I'm going to talk about some stuff that's going to be very spoiler heavy. Basically, the character Michelle realizes what happens is that this guy who John Goodman plays has basically been doing this for a while. He's been taking people into his bunker and leaving them in there, locking them up in there, most notably a young girl, which he assumedly what we can gather from just some little details here and there interspersed, that he treated her as sort of he obsessed over her kind of as a daughter, but maybe a little bit more than that. So it's really some dark stuff, and he basically kills her is what it's implied. And he sort of grows this same obsession for the Michelle character. Even though she's a grown woman, he's seeing her as a little girl. He's wanting to really just coddle her and just keep her down there in the bunker with him for life. So it's very weird and creepy stuff. So she realizes all of this. There's a lot of just back and forth, like I said, with plot twists and character motivations, and then character roundabouts and their personalities and everything, and how they perceive each other. And she basically realized, and then it goes back to he's this really just threatening individual. So she decides to escape, and she basically has to fashion herself a radiation suit or a containment suit. Because there are some things that happen in the movie to where you realize that there is some pretty dangerous stuff going on outside this sort of self-contained bunker. So she has to escape. She manages to do that, and then that's when the whole thing of what's going on in the outside world is revealed, and you hope it's going to be something original, something cool, and it turns out to be shit. It's an alien invasion movie. That was kind of the biggest disappointment for me in the movie, is I thought they were going to do something cool. I thought it was going to be some sort of chemical attack happening, some sort of just different, more original kind of thing going on, but it turns out that they're aliens. I just got really pissed off at that point with the movie, and was really hoping they were going to do something a little different. I do know that this movie, I will give some benefit of the doubt, that I do know that this movie is based more or less in the same universe, the same kind of atmosphere as the Cloverfield movie, I think from 2008, 2009, something like that, where it was just a giant monster attacking New York City. So it's kind of based in the same movie where creatures are possible, the unexplained is possible. So it's almost sort of like a weird Twilight Zone kind of franchise. I don't know if they're going to do any more of these Cloverfield movies, but it does seem like it's some sort of strange Twilight Zone franchise where weird things happen in this cinematic universe. So that's the thing with this movie. It is an alien attack. They were actually basically pumping out this toxic gas all over the planet, trying to apparently kill off the humans, take the planet over for themselves for whatever reason. and the character manages to kill an alien on the farm that the bunker is set within, and pretty much drives off trying to escape, and realizes that whatever's going on is much bigger than her need to escape. So she just hears basically this freedom fighter call on the radio to come to Houston, help them fight. So she ends up deciding to go fight. So there's a potential for a sequel of some sort where it's kind of more of a straightforward alien invasion movie. We have plenty of those already. So it was a big disappointment for me in that regard. The first half, the first act, like I said, second act, all that I absolutely loved about the movie. It was really good, really cool, and then just a big deflating flop at the end of it for me in terms of the story and the potential of where it could have gone and where it actually ended up. Overall, while I think that it is a solid, good movie with for me personally a subjective major flaw, being the whole alien invasion angle. I'm gonna have to go with this movie a 7 out of 10. It really could have been up there to like a 8.59 or around that range if it would have just not gone that direction, not gone that route, and not gone down that road of which we've traveled many times in cinema. So for me, yes, 7 out of 10 on 10 Cloverfield Lane. Definitely check it out for yourself though, because you may like it more. So until next time, thank you for watching.